Hello, and welcome to the 112th edition of Beer Issues. My name is Matt Bruckert, and I'm coming to you live here from Casa de Bruckert, where we're going to be having an exceptional world-class beer from Westmalle Brewery, which is actually a Trappist brewery. We're going to talk a little bit about what a Trappist ale is and things like that, but I'm going to go ahead and get this out and pour it so we can start talking about it. Now, when I say world class, this beer is rated 96 out of 100. I would actually give it more like a 98. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. It's a Belgian-style triple. I'm going to pour it to get a nice frothy head in there, and then give it a little a little chance to breathe here. The beer clocks in at 9.5% alcohol by volume, and I might have poured a little bit too much head, but we'll give it a second and let it settle down there a little bit. Now this beer dates back to when they first brewed it in 1934. So this beer has been around for a while. Now when we talk about a Trappist beer, we've talked a little bit about it. There's a limited number of Trappist breweries. And what exactly is a Trappist brewery? Well, there's only 11 Trappist breweries in the world. Okay, and I think they only brew like 12 beers that are truly considered Trappist. You might do, Belgian style beers, but a Trappist brewery is actually, in a Belgian monastery, it doesn't have to be Belgian, but supervised by the monks. Okay, so when you see a monk on a bottle, it doesn't necessarily mean that means it's a Trappist brewery, because, some of my favorites, like St. Bernardus, that's not actually a Trappist brewery, even though they brew the beer and, just like a Trappist, type beer. But there's really actually only 11. And Westmalle is one of them. And like I said, they've been around since like 1934. This is one of the original recipes of their beer that dates back to, they haven't changed this recipe since 1956. When you make perfection, you don't want to change it. They started exporting beers and into the national stage at Westmalle in like 1930, so all of the world could enjoy their beer. Okay, and another cool thing about Trappist ales is they're not for profit. So all of the funds from the beer that they make go back into the monastery. So it's to feed, and most of these, and I don't know if it's all, because I have yet to get there, but I will get there one of these days. A lot of the monasteries, and this one in particular, is also makes dairy. So it's a dairy farm, a monastery brewery, and they make cheese. I know St. Bernardus is always the same way, is also the same way, even though they're not Trappist, but they do have a cheese making facility right there on the property, and I've had some of their cheeses that were brought here. They're absolutely delicious, so I'd love to try some of the cheeses from Westmalle. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. What are the key characteristics here on a Belgian beer? Well, you see the golden color, golden, a little bit cloudy. The nice frothy white head, which I kind of overdid, but it looks like it's straightening out now. So we're going to go ahead and smell it. So right off the bat, you're getting like a light fruit flavor. I can smell the Belgian yeast, which is good. That's I think what really makes a good Belgian beer is the yeast that they use. You can smell it right off the bat, but you also get like a pear, almost apple scent to it. Maybe some melon in there. Okay. Now, I'm not going to kid you. I've drank this beer. Matter of fact, I drank this beer recently, like in the last week. So it's not my first time having it, but it's one that I had a long time ago and hadn't had for a while. And when I had it last week, all I could think about is I've got to let people know about this beer. It is fantastic. It's a great beer, in my opinion. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, if you like a good Belgian triple, this to me is a perfect example of a Belgian triple. It's got a light fruit flavor. The taste of the alcohol at 9.5% does come through, so you get the taste of the alcohol along with the fruit. But it's a best way to describe it is it's like a fruity, boozy flavor that you're getting in there. So it comes across, and you can definitely taste what tastes to me like a little bit of like a pear or like a melony type flavor or apple. But it's really just spectacular the way they put the beer together. Oh, that's beautiful. And Westmalle makes two beers that are considered Trappist ales. And they've got to be under the supervision of the monks in order to call it a Trappist ale. So the two that they make is this triple, which to me is probably one of the best triples I've ever had in my life. And then they also make a double, which is a little bit brown, a little bit lower in alcohol content beer. So those are their two Trappist ales that they make. Now, like I said, there's only 11 Trappist ales in the world, or Trappist breweries in the world. 6 of them, I believe, are in Belgium. There's 2 in the Netherlands. There's 1 in Italy and 1 in the U.S. And I think I'm missing one. Italy. Oh, and there's one, and I almost forgot about it. It's in. Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain cramp here. The other one is in. Hungary, I believe. I believe it's in Hungary. I don't mark my word for that, but I know that it's Italy. So I can actually name them off. In Belgium, you have the Trappist Rochefort, the Orval, the Westmalle, the West Lateran. I always mess up saying that. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Chimay and Arkel. The one in the U.S. is Spencer up in Massachusetts. The one in Italy is La Front. And then over in the Netherlands, you have La Trappe and Zundert, which is a newer one, I believe. There's one more, and I'm completely brain cramping on it. But another great brewery. But that kind of just gives you a rundown of the limited amount of truly Trappist beers you get. And the monks know what they're doing. They've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years, and this isn't their first time making it. So when they find a recipe as great as this one that dates back to, I guess they haven't changed this recipe since 1956. They've been producing the same beer, and it is rock solid. It's just a beautiful beer. So if you like a good Belgian style beer, whether it be a double, triple, quad, make sure you check out this beer. You can't go wrong. It's not going to be cheap. For a non-profit beer, it's pretty expensive, but you got to think about that's got to come all the way over here, and you're not going to get it cheap here. Although I'm not sure how cheap it is there either. But it does help go to a good cause to help keep the monastery afloat. And they have beautiful properties out there where the monks live, and I've got to get there one of these days. So one of these days I will be there, and I will be sitting in those monasteries checking out these beers. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, if you've enjoyed this and you've learned a little bit about beer today, make sure you tell your friends and have them tell their friends and have their friends tell their friends until everybody knows about what great fun we're having here drinking beer and talking about beer. And as my wife likes to say, I have beer issues.